Good morning, my loves. I think I'm in the right group. Last time I went live, I was completely on my personal page, and I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. This is a little bit personal for my personal page. I feel like I want to be more personal in my oils group, but you know, so be it. Stuffed up with the technology and shared with everyone. It doesn't matter. I think we need to share with everyone anyway. I think when we hide away and keep things for certain groups of people, we're missing the point of being alive. You know, we're here to share our experience and our stories with everyone. So, hey, darling, and we need to get brave about it. I hope everyone's doing okay. I'm not sure how long this isolation's been going for now, but I feel like I've settled into a little bit of a rhythm, to be honest. I've settled into a bit of a rhythm. I'd love to know how everyone else is feeling. We just have such spectacular weather here at the moment. Hey, darling. And it just lends itself to being outside and just marinating in nature. It's so spectacular. It's 26, 27, 28 every day, and the nights are a little bit cooler, but it's just the most perfect weather, finally, after that really hot summer, to just kind of, you know, sit and reconnect into Mother Earth. It's just been so magnificent. I've just loved every bit of it. And in the early days, yeah, I felt a little bit kind of scared, and there was trepidation around how we were all going to move forward. But I just trust the process. I totally trust the process. And I know that I have everything at my fingertips that I need to, you know, get through each day, keep my life simplified, and move forward with as little anxiety as possible. And I'm also one of those people who does not watch the news. I haven't watched the news for a really long time. And I'm talking years and years and years. I don't watch the news. I don't even like the TV being on. I actually prefer silence. Obviously, I love music, and, you know, I listen to podcasts and listen to books and stuff. But I think I feel like when I do my best work, when I really get into my creativity and my zone of genius, as they like to say, that zone where you're like, I know exactly what's going on, I'm like so aligned with my truth, is in silence. So I don't like a lot of external noise, and I'm quite lucky where I live here, because we're in Gerrards Hill, which is very, like, it's literally quite central to Lismore. There's so many birds. We have a lot of birds in this house too, as you guys know. And it's just a beautiful harmony outside. It's so nice. So I'm feeling pretty good. I've been doing some energy healing work. Now, I talk about this with you guys often. Energy healing work, I feel, is just as important as eating and sleeping and exercising, drinking your water. I think incorporating energy healing work into your life is just so paramount for helping us to continue to evolve outside of our conditioning and outside of our pain and outside of our trauma and outside of our wounds, and just to continue to evolve out of that dense place that we often find ourselves in, that real density of emotion. You know, we're hurt, we're upset, we're sad for whatever's going on around us. I won't even go into that, but to really lighten the body, energy healing work is just so important. And that can come in all different modalities. I use lots of different modalities. Obviously, I use Reiki because I've trained in it, and I'm still training in it. Acupuncture, obviously, training in that one as well. Obviously, I do network spinal analysis. I do kinesiology. I just do lots and lots, and I'll do lots of different healing work with different healers that actually doesn't have a name. Lots of channeling work, past life regression work, the whole kit and caboodle, shamanic work. And I work with different healers that I feel I need at that time. It's a very, very intuitive process. I don't get up on a Monday and go, right, I've got to see 3 healers this week. It's a very intuitive process. I'm like, who do I need to see this week? And this week I had a really beautiful session with somebody in my team, in my doTERRA team. Very powerful, powerful, powerful session. We went through a lot of layers, dug really deep, and it just felt very right for the moment, because I found the last couple of weeks, and I spoke about this in my last Facebook Live, there's been a lot of themes of death and rebirth, so much death and rebirth. And I'm not talking in the physical sense, like people aren't dying around me. I'm talking about in terms of old angel, new angel. And I'm really feeling into this. That whole Easter period really kind of fleshed out a lot of old wounds for me that were holding me back. Okay, things that were still triggering me, things that, you know, were still stuck in my body that just weren't serving me, so that I can be here and be of service in the highest possible vibration of love. And so for me, it's been a really big couple of weeks in terms of diving really deep. Diving really, really deep. Now, if I look back over my life, and some of you guys might feel like this, you're like, why do I need to do that work? You know, I'm cool. And that's totally fine. You know, I invite people, you know, if you ever feel like you need a hand and you feel like you need to shift some stuff that's holding you back, like repeat patterns, conditioning. You know, I was talking to someone the other day and she's like, every time I meet a bloke, the situation's always the same. And I'm like, well, what does that tell you? You know, the conditioning and the patterning is within you, and you're not actually diving in and you're not unpicking what's not working. Like, you actually just keep attracting the same person that keeps behaving the same way because you're not actually doing the work. You know, you're not actually going within and working out where your behavior is creating this reality every single time. And, you know, I could talk about this stuff till the cows come home, but it's been a really, really beautiful few weeks, actually, really diving deep and getting into some really tight spots in my body where I was like, oh, I don't know if I really want to go there. You know, I spoke about this in my last Facebook Live, so I won't go into detail, but it was hard. It was really hard work. It's opening up doors of stuff from the past that you think is put to bed and it's just not, you know. And there could be really simple things. It could be something that happened when you were 2 or 3. It could be something that happened to you when you were 7. It could be something that happened to you as you hit your teens. Your parents could have broken up when you were 20 and you still haven't recovered from it. So there's all these little, you know, spots in your body that hold this emotional tension that holds us back. And part of that is what I wanted to talk about today, which is codependency. And it's really interesting. For such a long time, I'm a very independent person, as you guys probably know. You know, I'm a single mom, and I've always been a real go-getter. And I'm like, I don't need to attach myself to anything. I'm just going to go in my own lane. I'm going to run really fast, and often I run so fast I fall over, and that happens quite a lot. But I'm never too fussed about what other people are doing. I'm like, I just want to go where I want to go. And so I've always had like a little bit of a disdain for codependency, because my perception was I sat on the other side of it, and I'm like, why would anyone want to be codependent on anything when you've got the whole world at your feet and you can just make it what you want? And through the last couple of weeks, it came up for me, really kind of bubbled to the surface like a volcano, the areas in my life where I was being codependent. And it really hurt. Like, it really came up, and I was like, oh God, it was like mirror facing, going, oh, angel, that thing that you don't like is completely within you. And so it was working through those different areas of my life where I'm being codependent and looking at how to unpick that and, you know, come back into a solidarity of self, you know, a sovereignty. That's really, really important, because we just can't, you know, expand and grow and evolve and be our best selves when we're being a barnacle with another situation or another person. And, you know, I think everyone, you know, in this group and everyone generally can probably identify areas in their life where they are being really codependent, where they're just not standing on their own and only owning everything that is them, their thoughts, their emotions, their opinions, their judgments, everything is them. And they're kind of hiding under the wing of somebody else or another situation or somebody else's thoughts or opinions. They're not rising up and, claiming their space, getting vulnerable, getting raw and saying, actually, this is me and this is all of me. And I don't care what anyone else thinks, this is me. And when I look at some of my own areas of codependence, it was a real smack in the face, actually, because I was like, wow, Angel, it's going on around you and you're actually attaching to different situations because it suits you and it's comfortable. There's a very, very strong synergy there between codependence and comfortable. And I'm like, if you really want true happiness and real abundance, like, you're going to have to move out of these different situations. And those situations can be friendships, okay? You can have friendships, males and females, doesn't really matter, that there's a real codependence there where you need that friendship for reasons outside of just unconditional love. You're really leaning into it because you're just not going to cope otherwise. And have a think about your close groups of friends and how you use social media and how you relate to other people that and really feel into whether there is a level of codependence there. I think social media is a really big one because there's a huge codependence with social media to fill a gap and a sense of happiness for a lot of people because you're looking at lives that you perceive to be better than your own. In actual fact, they're often not. That's why I like to go very real and raw in here so that it's made abundantly clear that everyone, is trucking along each day doing the same shit, cleaning and cooking and picking shit up, so that there's never this ideal of, gosh, that person's life just looks so amazing when, it's often not. I was looking at some of my own friendships over this period of time going, is this person, serving my greater good? Is it bringing out the best in me? And when I look at my friends that I can talk to till the cows come home, there's no codependence. It's just a beautiful, unconditional love with no judgment, no bitchiness, no stabbing in the back, none of this revolting behavior. And I'm like, look at the people you spend time with, especially the 5 closest people you spend time with, and think about those relationships. Is it a really beautiful, unconditional two-way love where you just know you got each other's back, or is it a codependence in a way that, I've got to keep this person close because, something bad might happen, or I need to keep this person close just, because I don't trust them, or do you know what I mean? Like, codependence comes in so many different flavors and colors. And you shouldn't be hanging out with people you don't trust, I've learnt this the hard way. I've spent a lot of time, even in my doTERRA business, helping people build and, building friendships. And, I've just been so burnt. I'm going to be really honest with this. And that's just part of life. Like, the more people you come into contact with, the more chance there is of coming across this type of behavior because, people aren't evolved. So many people are scrambling around in low vibrationary behavior, not trusting, not even close to being in the space of unconditional love, and just, constantly on the lookout for, the next opportunity to cause chaos. So, have a think about, the 5 closest people that you hang out with and spend time with, or on the phone at the moment because we're in isolation, and really look at those relationships, and are they beautiful, equal, unconditional love filled relationships, or is there an element of codependence there? These are questions that I've asked myself. Not just friendships, family as well. Is the family dynamic suiting you because it's comfortable, or is it something that deep down underneath is really unsuitable and you're just too afraid to come out of it? I'm always amazed at how many people I speak to when I'm talking about oils, and, often women will say, my husband won't let me spend money. I only get $100 a week. And there's a real cage scenario going on there. And, it makes me sad. It makes me really sad. And I'm like, that kind of codependence, I mean, some people love it because they're looked after and they're comfortable and they're safe in that family unit, and that's totally fine. But for someone like me and some of my friends, like, to have sovereignty, to be individual, make your own money, not be tied to a situation that you feel you have no control over. I mean, that's codependency. I know people that will only date people that will look after them, because they're just too afraid to step into their own brilliance and into their own light. In fact, they don't even trust they even have what it takes to be successful. So it's, in their eyes, much easier to, connect and hook up and marry and whatever, someone who will do all the work for them. And these are conversations that I often have with people. So, if this is triggering you, or you're like, oh my God, I need to go and think about this, or this might be me, I'm saying this all with love, okay? It's a subject that I'm very passionate about, because I really believe that every single person on this earth has so much magic to bring. And so often I see people who feel squashed and stuck in situations that they feel like they can never get out of, especially marriages and partnerships and relationships where people are too afraid to leave because they're financially tied or because they've got kids. I see it all the time. And I actually feel very blessed for my own situation, which for the most part allows us all to be ourselves. It needs a few tweaks occasionally, but for the most part allows everyone to be themselves and to chase their dreams unencumbered, which is really big for me. I meet so many women. I mean, I know there are blokes as well, but I see so many women are just kind of like stuck in these situations. They're not even chasing their dreams. They're just at home doing the do. And for the people that love doing that, that's totally fine. But I meet so many women that are like, they just have so many unaddressed dreams. And they're like, if I had it my way, this would be my plan, but I'm not even close to that plan. And it's, I don't even think that I feel good enough about myself that I can even do this or achieve this. So, there's a lot of people in these codependent situations that, you just want to help to see that you can bring about change, and that they are amazing and they are brilliant. They have so many skills and they're smart and talented and all of the above. Finances is a big one actually for codependents. I know a lot of people, I'm really lucky because I'm independently, in terms of finances, I'm completely independent. I don't rely on anyone. I make my own money, and that's the way I like it. I don't be dependent on anyone. And that's coming from being a single mum many years ago when I couldn't even afford nappies. That's where that comes from, a drive to never be dependent on anyone ever again. And that was a huge driver of me. It was on my wall, I never want to go through that again. I never want to get to the end of the month going, I can't buy the things that I want because we don't have any money. So finance is a big one, and have a think about how you are codependent in your relationship with your finances. Are they crushing you? Are you stuck in a family dynamic where you're really struggling? And this is a lot of people, especially at the moment. So start to kind of get in there, and if you need to have some energy healing around this, yell out and I'll put you in touch with my healers, because this is specifically what they work on. You can sit with them, or you can do it over the phone, and they're like, tell me what's going on. And you can say, I'm feeling crushed. I feel like there's no way out. I'm tied to this situation and I'm really unhappy. Or you might be happy, it doesn't matter. But in this case, we're talking about codependence as a negative. And that, ultimately we want people to, to be able to live that very individual life. But at the same time, you can still be within a family or a friendship or partnership, business relationship, doesn't matter. Friends, family, finances. What else? You might be emotionally tied to certain situations, traumas from the past. It's such a big one. I've been through this myself at length. That's why I do a lot of energy healing work, being tied to traumas, very codependent to those emotions and feeling safe with those emotions, feeling safe with the fact that I'm not enough, and going, well, I'm never going to be any more than that, so just be grateful, Angel, and actually using the energy healing work to get into those traumas and realize that it's actually not how I should be living. And in fact, the healing that I did this week was around that. We cut a lot of stuff out that was holding me back, that was tied to my paternal line, some that was tied to my maternal line. some to past lives, some to other people. And I just was like, wow, when you realize that you can actually get rid of this gunk out of your energy field, and you realize how amazing you can actually feel, and all my energy healers in this group, we've got lots of you, you know what I'm talking about. Once you realize that you can actually feel better, man, life just starts to ramp up. And that's why I sell essential oils, because the oils do the same thing. They all have their own energetic frequency. They have their own vibration. And this is one of my favorite topics. I love talking about this. It's why I'm studying Chinese medicine. They all have their own vibration. So if you can't get to an energy healer and you don't have the finances, you know, I hear this all the time. I would love to go and see your healer angel. I just don't have the money. Start small, because these guys are little healers in little brown bottles that pack an absolute punch, okay? And if you're feeling codependent in any areas, so with family, with friends, in any kind of, you know, human dynamic, to situations, to the past, feeling codependent to the future, so you're living in anxiety permanently, which is what anxiety is, stressing out about the future. Stressing out about, you know, it could be an emotional tie, it could be a spiritual tie. I've had a really big issue with a spiritual tie to one person, which has really held me back. And that's been a whole other, I could do 15 podcasts on that topic, and I am about to start a podcast. So watch this space. I'm so excited. I want to talk to lots of people about all this stuff. But if you're feeling any sense of codependence right across the board, so in your business, you're tied to a job that you feel like you got to do because there's no other job out there and that's the amount of money that you're worth. If you're in a relationship, you don't feel like you have the strength or the courage to speak up and put new boundaries in place because of your codependence to a certain situation. The list goes on and on and on. You could be codependent on food. Hey, isolation, holy guacamole. Anyone else feeling the codependence to food because we're at home, there's a fridge, it's full of food, and I'm like, I'm just going to check the fridge again, even though I was just in there half an hour ago. I'm actually about to do a detox. I'm about to do one of Tammy's detoxes to have a strip down for this reason. Because I'm putting my pants on this morning going, Angel, Melton, what is going on, girlfriend? Too many lollies. I normally don't eat lollies, but I don't know what's going on. It's just my bad. But if you're feeling any of these codependencies creeping in, or you know they've been there for a long time, and you want to do something about it, and you can identify them and go, I want to break these patterns. Because let me tell you can break the patterns, but you don't necessarily break your family unit or your friendship or the thing that's kind of holding that codependency. It just gets better. Or actually sometimes it does kind of disintegrate and go, but it's meant to, you know, divine timing. But let's jump in and get brave. Let's jump in and get, you know, really kind of groovy with this stuff and go, I don't want to do this anymore. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't, this barnacle type behavior doesn't serve me. And it's just what I've been doing, you know, for the last couple of weeks, really looking at areas where, and right across the board, where it feels a bit codependent and going, we're going to break it. Now, the oils, as I said, are one of our best tools for getting into these situations and helping us change our vibration, helping us feel so much better about ourselves, so we feel a little bit braver to make these decisions, you know. I mean, the oils just, there's so much magic here. And I know this because I've been using them for so long now that I always know that when I go and grab something, when I'm in that moment going, oh, I'm feeling a bit of pain right now around a certain situation, and it could be anything. You know what I mean? That bit of emotional pain that comes through and you're like, oh, I don't want confrontation. I don't want to talk about this. I don't know what to do. You know, it could be anything. Grab your oils, you know. I've got 3 oils here today that I want to just quickly discuss, which are kind of tied into what we're talking about, codependency. One being lemongrass. Now, lemongrass is a really, really powerful oil. It's often in the morphine bomb, like the doTERRA morphine bomb, which is an aromatic dressing made with certain oils for people that struggle with very severe pain. It's very, very powerful. And in my book, it's the oil of cleansing. Okay, so great for toxic or negative energy, people sitting in despair, holding on to the past, hoarding, darkness, and spiritual blindness, okay? It's the oil of cleansing. So this is really, really good if you're feeling slightly or greatly codependent right across the board, where you're just feeling trapped and you're like, I don't feel like I have a way out. I'm feeling really stuck in this situation and I need some help, okay? So this is going to help you with some spiritual clarity, non-attachment, simplicity, more discernment, and releasing what is no longer needed, okay? Really simple. Lemongrass. I think off the top of my head it's like $15 or $20. I can't remember. Nothing. In the diffuser, incredible. I've actually got it in the diffuser today with Naioli, which is our oil of the month. This is brand new at doTERRA. I freaking love this so much. I don't know what the emotional thing is for Naioli yet, but once I do, I'll talk about it. I feel like this is really good for resistance though. Resistance comes through a lot for me with Naioli, but these two together, lemongrass and Naioli, packs an absolute punch and really good for getting in where it needs to get in and just releasing the resistance. That's why it's the oil of cleansing. It's so, so powerful. If you don't have lemongrass, chuck it in your cart, guys. It says here, you know, rub on the bottom of your feet with your carrier oil, which is really, I mean, as you know, it's one of the best ways to use the oil. So if you're in that moment going, oh, I'm going to stop breathing, I don't know what's going on, I feel trapped. I always feel like codependency for me feels trapped, like you're trapped and you just can't get out and it feels a bit suffocating. Right across any of those things I've been talking about, you know, you feel really like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, you know, especially if it's financially tied or relationship tied. You know, people don't want to be alone. They're like, oh my God, if I pull the pin on this, where am I going to be left? And that's where you just have to trust. You got to trust God. You got to trust Source that you will be looked after. And getting that trust back into your body is so important. I've just been going through this for weeks of really, really getting in and recognizing that even I wasn't trusting. I was like, I'm just going to hang on to these situations, some of these people, because I don't trust what's going to happen. And I'm like, you just got to trust. You got to trust. It's really important. If you're not using lemongrass, coriander, my friends, coriander. This is a big one. I generally, as a rule, prefer the smell of cilantro, which is the leaf, but coriander is the seed of the coriander plant. So it's the oil of integrity, okay? Oh, if you actually sit with coriander and just inhale, you start to really feel the magic of the aroma just working its way through your body. It's very powerful. Very, very, very powerful, coriander. It's just so powerful. It really is. So really good for people who feel controlled by others, self-betrayal, which is all part of codependency, and conforming, okay? Conforming to situations that we ultimately don't like and they don't make us feel good about ourselves, okay? So it's the oil of integrity. So moves the individual from doing things for the acceptance of others to honouring and living from the true self. This is exactly what we're talking about. And this is what I'm going through at the moment. A lot of this, actually, big, big shifts. So the oil of integrity, guys. So bringing more truth in, inner guidance, integrity, and works really, really well with ginger, interestingly. I was going to talk about ginger today, but I'm not. Whew. Packs a punch, guys. Packs a punch. So teaches each individual that they are a gift to the world as they are, in the uniqueness that they are, and they don't need to rely on others to bring that gift forward. Really, really important. And the last one is clove. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining. Send me some love hearts. Send me some love, guys. Clove is my last one. Clove is, where am I? The oil of boundaries. Okay, this is exactly what we're talking about. Codependency equals flimsy boundaries. Okay, no boundaries, as we like to say. So you could be sitting in victim mentality, feeling defeated, dominated, enslaved, fear of rejection. So this is a really big part of codependency, that huge fear of rejection, fear of being alone and going, I'm actually still enough. Feeling intimidated. I've definitely felt this in some of my codependent situations. I've felt intimidated, so I stay in there for fear of what will happen if I step out. And that's learning to manage certain personalities in my life, feeling controlled and feeling codependent. It's exactly what we're talking about. So clove is fantastic, so fantastic for helping to break those little bonds in our body that are holding us to situations that don't serve. Now, as I said, if you don't have an energy healers are the best for breaking these things down. If you don't have one, reach out and I'll put you in touch with some of my amazing healers that work in different modalities, and we can have a chat and we can work out which one would best suit you, because they all do different things and I work with them at different times depending on how I'm feeling in myself. Or sometimes I just work on myself, which I have been doing in the last couple of weeks as well, which has been incredible. I'm going to talk about this in my podcast actually. Or if you're not feeling brave enough to use an energy healer, which some people aren't, use your oils, use your lemongrass, use your coriander, use your clove. Okay, they can all be used in your diffuser. They can all be used on your body, on the bottom of the feet. Lie down and do even a mini meditation and go, I want to release these ties for whatever they are. Jump in and, connect into source and ask, please release me from these ties. Okay, you'd be amazed what happens when you actually ask, and you ask with integrity and you ask with the right pure intention. Yeah, so I'd probably just use them topically on the bottom of your feet. On the spine's really great as well. On the belly is really good, but always with your carrier oil, fractionated coconut oil, or in the diffuser. In fact, coriander and lemongrass in the diffuser, beautiful, beautiful combination. Beautiful, actually. It's very, very, what's the word? It's just packs a punch. You know how you could have orange and peppermint, which I had in my diffuser this morning, or you can go, let's dive a little deeper. And people don't realize that when you put these in the diffuser and they get in and they do everything that I've said, and they start to kind of shift stuff around and they change the vibration and they work with the harmony in your body, and they go, wow, I'm actually feeling a little bit different. And you've got to want to feel different. You've got to want to feel better. Otherwise, you stay in that victim mentality of going, you know what, I'm not worth anything more, so I'm just going to stay comfortable. And I get that because I've done it myself. I'm still doing it in some situations where I'm like, there's a level of comfort here that suits me. I don't think I'm ready to jump out. Okay, so that's the other flip side of codependency. We're just not ready. But if you really want to rise into that true, authentic self, these cords need to be cut. That's how I see it, because they hold us back. I was talking to my healer about one particular cord that I have to someone that, in essence, I really love, because I feel like it's a supportive cord. But my healer's like, no, Angel, that cord's actually holding you back. And then when we went through the explanation of it, I was like, wow, that was a comfort zone. That was purely a comfort zone. So if you're in here and you're not into what I'm talking about, it might feel like a little bit of gobbledygook, but that's not the intention. The intention is to help every single person feel alive and to feel themselves and to be able to step out into the world with just grace and unconditional love and, no fear, knowing that you can be of service exactly as you are. We're all just vibrating atoms. That's what we're doing. So on that note, I'm going to run. If anyone wants any further information on clove, coriander, lemongrass, or you would like my energy healers details. Now, my energy healers work by distance as well, so you don't need to be in the same geographic location. Just let me know. They're all amazing for all different reasons. And yeah, I've had a really nice journey over the last couple of weeks. I hope you guys have too. If anyone wants to dig a little deeper, reach out. I love you. Goodbye.